As you may know, I bought a new computer last December, due to my old one overheating and the hard drive exploding. I have a new one now and I feel I'm ready to tell you the real reason it crashed. November 30, 2011. I really like the show My Little Pony: Friendship is Magic. It calms me down and the plot is simple and requires no cognitive work to fully understand. However, I was beginning to get bored of the season 1 episode, so I decided to surf the web and look for some more season 2 ones. It took a while of searching, about 2 or 3 pages of Google, but eventually I found an episode titled Season 2 Pilot, My Little Pony Friendship is Magic, Legend of Lost Pony. Just then, a flashback occurred. Does anyone remember that My Little Pony storybook? The one where Minty, Pinkie Pie, Wisteria and Rainbow Dash were all having a sleepover and telling ghost stories? I remember buying that book when I was 7, when I was into the original My Little Pony dolls. The story used to scare me as a child. I would often hide under my covers in fear that the ghost pony would come for me. Interested to see my childhood be reincarnated by the creator of the show, Lauren Faust, I clicked on the link leading to the website. I analyzed the page. There was no URL. Irritated as I could not link my friends to the episode, I continued examining the webpage. It looked like an amateurly coded website that 8th graders would make in technology classes. The movie player did not have a timeline, no pause buttons, just play arrow in the center of the video. I was still debating the authenticity of this episode, so I scrolled down to the description. The description was just ... I rolled my eyes, thinking this was some stupid prank made by a YouTube troll, but I decided to be brave. I wanted to prove to myself that I wasn't going to be scared shitless just for some guy's amusement. So I hit the play button. To my surprise, the normal My Little Pony opening sequence played out as usual. I began to sing along to the theme song, being so happy it wasn't a prank, but as the theme music ended, the My Little Pony logo at the end of the opening just stayed there for a while. I thought the video was lagging, so I hovered my mouse over the window. There was no buffering symbol, so I assumed the video was over until very loud static screamed out through my headphones. My heart skipped a bit due to the contrast of complete silence when the logo was frozen. The screen was black until 3 words in white shoulder text faded into my vision. Lost Pony is coming. The text jumped and flickered as if the movie was somewhat old. I began to shiver and was contemplating whether or not to close the window, but static then shifted the scenery into something a little bit more pleasant. The 3 Cutie Mark Crusaders, Sweetie Belle, Apple Bloom and Scootaloo were all going over to Twilight Sparkle's house with their sleeping bags, so I assumed that they were staying the night. Scootaloo knocked on the door, and therefore Twilight could even say hello. The 3 fillies ran into the house. As Twilight closed the door, the video then panned upwards to reveal the top of the treehouse, where Aloysius landed on a thick branch. The frame then froze for a few seconds, zooming into Aloysius' face. I could almost swear I could hear the sound of a music box and little girls laughing faintly in the background. I noticed the sound getting drastically louder until a horrible image flashed into the screen. The video was completely zoomed into Aloysius' face, in blurry black and white. The sound of a girl screaming then sounded its way through my speakers, along with a loud banging on the piano. His eyes were dark black holes, and he didn't even have a beak. No, a frighteningly realistic human mouth grinning with teeth spread across the owl's face. The frame continued to jump and shift as the screaming, banging, and laughing children continued to play out. After almost wetting myself, the video went back to the 4 ponies. The Cutie Mark Crusaders were all snuggled up into their sleeping bags, eyes eager and fixed on Twilight, as she lifted a book with her magical horn and placed it on her desk. "Now, girls," Twilight spoke in her kind, assuring voice. "This story is called The Prince of Canterlot. Once—" She was interrupted by Scootaloo. Boring, she whined. Come on, Twi. Let's hear something scary. Apple Bloom and Sweetie Belle nodded their heads in agreement. Twilight blushed, embarrassed. Okay, how about the story of the Sunshine Village? Scootaloo shook her head. Twilight sighed. The Happy Prince? Twilight, Scootaloo complained. Something scary. Defeated, Twilight gave into Scootaloo's request. All right, she groaned. Spike, fetch me the Legend of Lost Pony. The video panned over to Spike, who appeared to be frightened at that request. No! Spike began to shudder. No! No! Spike screamed and ran off. My senses told me that this was going to get worse before it got any better. As I sat shaking in my chair, I hesitantly watched. The three fillies snuggled together in excitement as Twilight began to tell them the story. Once upon a time, many, many years ago, there was a Pegasus known as Red Helper. Twilight's voice trailed off as the screen began to wobble in flashback. The screen then cut to black for a little while. I thought the video was over, so I was about to close the window, but a blood-curdling moan made me jump out of my seat, forcing me to watch. More static played out until there was a clip of a white Pegasus with a spiky blonde mane and a tail, and a red cross for a cutie mark. His eyes were dull and emotionless. He did nothing, just stared at the road. He blinked once and then began to walk. I noticed the quality of the video rapidly decreasing as he walked. There was a music box faintly in the background, followed by some unfathomable murmuring. The static then sounded, causing me to jump again. The scenery shifted to the center of town, where several ponies all looked at him in disgust. The ponies sounded much like they were speaking backwards. Then the shot panned up to Princess Celestia. She was flowing with rage. Red Helper barely looked at her, which seemed to enrage her more. "What have you done?" she shrieked. "Do you have any idea how serious this is?" Red lifted his head slightly and spoke. Notice how I said spoke, because all that was coming out was a loud static sound. The ponies looked terrified. "Get out!" Celestia growled. "Get out! Get out! Get out!" She stamped her hoof on the ground, causing it to shake. Red's eyes widened. Celestia continued to scream at him until he bolted off into the woods. As he walked, however, every step made the screen darken. The sound of the banging piano could be heard again. Red opened his mouth, and the words that came out made my blood run cold. "I didn't mean to kill her, my love," he said in an eerie, childlike voice. "Her skin was so perfect. I had to have it for my own. She wouldn't stop screaming. I didn't want her to scream, so I..." The pitch of his voice changed to a demonic growl. "Cut out her eyes!" The static then filled up the player once again. I then heard a whisper. "Do you want to end up like her?" A frightening image of Red suddenly appeared on the screen. His colors were dark and dirty. He no longer had his eyes or wings. They were replaced by bloody-eyed bandages. His back right leg was gone, the remaining leg severed with cuts. His smile was replaced by a realistic human mouth as if screaming. The screaming sound then played out again, along with a creepy music box and the little children laughing. I was now cowering in my chair, crying in fear. The screen then cut to black and the nightmare was finally over. So I thought. The player then disappeared, and the web page was completely black. I looked around a bit until I saw the smallest white text in the far right corner. The text read, "Bye now." I heard yet another scream and my computer blue-screened. I ran into my bedroom and hid myself under the covers, sobbing hysterically. I didn't dare touch that computer for the rest of the night. December the 1st, 2011. After the awful terror I witnessed yesterday, I decided to check my computer again, this time in broad daylight. I started up my computer and everything seemed normal. I opened up my pictures folder when I noticed all of my hard drive had been wiped clean. There were no folders, no pictures, no videos, nothing. Nothing but 2 files. An image titled lostpony.txt and a movie titled Buy Now Movie. I clicked the movie. It was 4 minutes and 9 seconds long. It was an image of Red, lying in a red room with a wicked smile upon his face. The movie quality was awful and consisted of, you guessed it, static. I watched the whole movie until the end in suspense. To my relief, nothing happened. I clicked the red X and closed the player and tried to see the Lost Pony image. It had disappeared, so had the movie. My entire drive was completely erased. I had no programs, not even Windows Movie Maker. My login was titled ... and there was only a shutdown option. Knowing that it would be pointless to continue searching for any files, I clicked shutdown. To my surprise, my laptop turned off immediately. After a few hours of waiting, I tried turning my computer on again. Alas, it wouldn't work. I have a new computer now, but I will never forget what happened that horrible night.